سلمان يا بلادي عاش سلمان، عاش سلمان ملكنا عاش سلمان،
والشعب كله يردد
عاش سلمان، والشعب كله يردد عاش سلمان، عاش سلمان يا بلادي عاش سلمان، عاش سلمان، عاش سلمان ملكنا عاش سلمان، عاش سلمان.
غنت الدنيا وغنت البلد، غنت الأمجاد لك يا أبو فهد.
غنت الدنيا وغنت البلد، غنت الأمجاد لك يا أبو فهد،
تكتب الفرحة لك أحلى قصيد، افتخرنا فيك يا وجه السعد.
تكتب الفرحة لك أحلى قصيد، افتخرنا فيك يا وجه السعد،
أنت سلمان
ما مثلك مثيل،
وإن وجد مثلك
صدقني كثير، أنت سلمان ما مثلك مثيل، وين وجد مثلك صدقني كثير.
Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Saudi Now. Saudi Now is brimming with happiness. I have been saying this for like the past year, that this is the best time to be a woman in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and yesterday proved to be the biggest surprise. The historical news was finally broken to us. The custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, has officially allowed for women to drive. There was never a ban, but now we have the right to drive. The practicalities will be taking some time, so for the moment, let us move on towards the other half of the show with Hani Ahmed. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning.
Alaikum barakatuh. This is Hani Ahmed. Okay, an old woman, a wise woman said once, you can break me, you can hit me, you can steal my shoes, but in my car, I'll be the driver. And this is what are we about, inshallah, this year, 100%. So yes, women can drive now, and they're going to say now, they're going to demand, like, I want my car to be, and I can drive my car, and you can sit behind. And by the way, do not bother me while I'm driving. It's going to go something like this. So I cannot believe it's going to happen. By the way, it's a nightmare coming true. It's happening. Women are driving. And this is the weird thing about it, that yesterday it was like a bummer. And look at her. She is happy and she enjoys it, and she's giving me plans about what the car she's going to buy. So let me tell you what the car she's going to buy. Please tell them. I'm not going to say anything.
Well, the car that we're going to be buying, we can already, as females, have cars in our names in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We have been allowed for that for the longest time possible, but now soon enough there will be the practicalities of the driving licenses being issued. When, that is not stated as yet. For now, it is just our King's Royal Decree.
You can plan from now. What are you going about to buy, and what about the model? Are you going to make a special edition for yourself? So tell us, what are you going to plan for the future? I like to think about what's going to happen after a few months from now. Please tell us, and we are so excited to know your opinion as a Saudi girl. What's her dreams and imagination coming true for a life dream? Go ahead.
Well, okay, the first thing is going to be very, very simple. My brother happens to own a truck that happens to own my heart.
A truck.
And yeah.
A truck.
I absolutely love that truck, and I would love to have that as my first car, which is a truck. It is a beautiful, mean machine. But for all of the ladies out there, I really think this is something that we should realize as to how big of a historical decree this one is. The entire world is talking about it. I was watching one of my favorite news channels last night with my brother, and the developing story was all about the custodian of the two holy mosques allowing for women to drive. Once again, we need to remember that there was never a ban. It was never illegal, but it was just never a part of our society.
Yes.
And now it is going to be. The king has given the green light, and soon enough, the girls will be queuing up at the driving schools to learn.
When we say truck, we're talking about what? We're talking about Hummer. We're talking about
We're talking about a four-wheel drive that I am going to, that I'm going to leave undisclosed, honey, because I don't need everybody following my car.
Okay, a dream come true, and we're going to go to this intro and see what's going on. So let's go to the intro.
عاش سلمان ملكنا عاش سلمان
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So just after the celebrations of the National Day, the king of our beautiful, beautiful homeland has given women a reason to celebrate once again. I really cannot thank him enough for giving us the empowerment of being able to not only own our cars, but to be able to drive those cars as well. I mean, I, for one, have never been too keen on driving myself to work.
Before.
But I really think it is a great thing to have as an option. If you want to drive, you could drive, and that is something that our beloved father of the nation has provided all of the girls with, and it is amazing. But I really do think from this way onwards, we really need to be more responsible as well. We need to take up the responsibility of accommodating more cars on the streets, and we need to be better drivers, men and women both. We need to be more careful, always be buckled up, and obviously wait for the time when the driving schools are going to be having queues and queues of women.
Oh yeah, it's going to be much easier for the kids. And by the way, our country really took a very big steps after the National Day, as Nihad mentioned. Yes, we hear this side or you know, from custodian of two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, and I think our country, yes, it's jumping from a stage to another stage, and this is a very brave stage. But of course, with the driving of ladies come the territory of responsibility. Everybody now should be responsible about his sister, and everybody should be responsible about learning about driving in a right way. And now let's go straight up to the market and see what's going on in the reality and real life and driving of women to become a reality nowadays. So we're going to go to a short break and the market after that.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So what is happening in the stock market is probably not as exciting as to what is happening in our country. But let us move on with the very first news, which happens to be all about Lufthansa seeing offering to pay 200 million euros for Air Berlin assets. A Lufthansa bid price of 200 million to buy assets from the insolvent Air Berlin plus 100 million to meet the operating cost is roughly correct. A newspaper said that there could be 3 months between signing a purchasing contract and implementing the transaction because German and European competition authorities would need to vet any deals. So this is interesting.
It is.
I mean, it's one of the bigger airlines in the world and clearly are struggling very strongly. So let's see what happens with their fate.
I don't know what's happening with the airlines. This is like the fifth thing we talk about during this fourth week. But now we're going to go to the heart of Africa. I'm going to tell you what's going on. And here the news. It's investors. Actually, they are worried. Tanzania moves to assert more control over mines. Okay, what's going on? I'm going to tell you here in the new laws and crackdown on mining firms in Tanzania has slowed fresh investments in what has long been seen as one of Africa's brightest mining prospects. So as companies assess the consequences of government efforts to claim a bigger slice of the buy. And by the way, wherever they're going to dig deep inside, they're going to go for more minerals and gold and God knows what is kind of materials that are going by the mines. And going from the mines to Nihat. Okay, let's see.
Right, we're going to China. Now, China Rust Belt open doors wider to foreign investors. Now, trucks carrying high-tech car components rumble in and out of the gates of an American industrial zone in the heart of China's Rust Belt, using roads that the city specially renovated for the complex. While the foreign firms complain about being locked out of large swaths of China West Market, the door has cracked open a bit wider in the northeastern lining province as the authorities seek to revive the recession-hit industrial region. And with that, it is a wrap-up to our multi-economic news. The one thing that we should always think about is that economy is only going to get stronger and stronger with you know, the public being the female half of the public buying gasoline, buying cars, paying for the maintenance, paying for the fuel. So it is actually going to be helping the economy
And by the
in
way,
more ways than one.
People usually, Nihat, think when the female is going to take the lead in driving, it's going to be crowded. I don't think so. You know why? Because who is driving and making the crowds, actually there are females with the drivers. So what's going to happen, just we're going to remove the drivers and it's going to be just them. And believe me, it's going to be the same. The crowds will be just the same. It's not going to get more. That's what I think.
Most definitely. And with the transportation projects going all around our country right now, with all of these beautiful metro projects that are just covering most of our main streets in Riyadh, they're going to be completed, inshallah, very soon. And with the possibility of a public transportation, I'm pretty sure that many of the women and the men alike would like to go in public transport. Like I, for one, would love to just get to work in a given specified time every single day without having any delays. But for the moment, let's not further delay the stock market index. Taking a look at the stock market in the GCC and worldwide. Here it is.
Who's talking? Oh yeah, we just seen this report for the GCC, Asia and Europe, everywhere else. And yes, we're back to the studio now. I'm going to talk about it. Okay, it's our subject obviously today. It's about the royal decree just happened just yesterday about allowing women to drive, and inshallah is going to be a good thing and a big step in our country. And I'm sure women responsible sometimes more than men. Okay, so I don't think it's going to be a bad thing, but everything takes time. Okay, Rome wasn't built in a day, and that's me. It's going to take some time until it's going to be happening, and I'm sure we're going to see it step by step. Like every day growing a little bit. What do you think? It's not going to be one in 2 days. I think even when the woman or the female, they're going to start driving, it's going to take some time, I believe, to be an official or a regular thing. Don't you think so?
Absolutely. I mean, it is. It kind of goes without saying that for women to actually start driving, the driving licenses would need to be issued. So that is a long process before you see females on the roads driving. So we all need to realize that the change is here, but the implementation of that change would take time. I mean, even if there are just 10,000 women in Riyadh who would like to drive, and I know the number is so much bigger than that.
Yeah.
even that would mean that they need to go to the driving school first, learn how to drive, even if they know how to drive, and then go on and get their driving licenses issued. So it's not something that's going to happen overnight. It is a process that will start from the royal decree. So it is a start of a new era for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And I cannot be more excited as a female in the country to be given a right that is very rightfully ours from the father of the nation. Once again, we should very much commemorate and thank the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, for always thinking about the females and for doing this historical royal decree that I have waited all my life for.
Okay, but there are consequences. So boys, watch out your cars from your wives and your sisters. Protect your things. Okay, let them have their cars. So yes, I think it's going to coming, and Ash Salman, and yes, this is a royal decree and we have to respect. So we obey and we respect and we encourage this new phenomena, I think. And I wish everything is going to be, inshallah, in the right spot. Let's go for the weather and see what's going on. I can tell the weather getting cool, and inshallah, even in the world. So let's see this report. We'll come back to you or talking about more about the driving.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So that was just about a quick weather break. Now, the one thing that we know in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, that, you know, we kind of tend to feel just about two weathers, two seasons more predominantly, being the winters and the summers. But whether winter is coming or not, the one thing that is going to be prevalent is that happiness is here. It has arrived. The celebrations are all over, be it the international media or the local women right here in the country. This is a gigantic news which has been disclosed by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and it really is the time for all of us to just take a moment and digest the news as well. We need to realize how empowering the decision is from the father of the nation, and how we need to deal with this in the most and foremost a responsible manner. Men make way for women, and women create a good example.
And the economy is going to be stronger. So more car deals is going on the way. I think it's going to be start from today. Well, before women go for driving, women are buying cars and instruments for driving, so for the drivers. But now it's going to be a way better because they have now the chance to drive what they are buying. And more than this, nobody's going to break the cars for them. They're going to take care of it, and no driving is going to cause accidents, inshallah, in the future, or didn't deal right with the cars, because this is what we got from driver. They don't really care about the cars. It's not their cars, so of course it's going to be normal to not taking care of it. So woman is going to take care of it now and buy it and feel it and do it. So economy, yes, as I mentioned before, is going to be a bit high. So I think it's a positive thing. You know, it's about the money, the responsibility, and to be carpooling the kids to go to school, which is very practical. So we are talking about a practical country, a reality country, fitting with other countries in the world, and inshallah that will be a great royal degree to have a face-up things in the future.
Absolutely. I mean, we really need to recognize the fact that women driving is not a blessing or a curse for the roads or for the traffic jams. It is just something prevalent in our society that for every woman there is a car and a driver anyways. Whether the woman is doing one of those online taxiing applications where you get the car with the tap of your finger, or she has a private driver, or she has her brother, father, or husband driving her to or from whichever destination it is that she wants to go to. So we need to realize that the cars are already there that are doing the transportation for the females. So if they are going to be able to do it themselves, it's not adding more traffic.
True.
But on a sideline, we do need to remember that there is going to be an adjustment period that we would all need, both men and women, and we need to prepare ourselves for those things. I mean, there are so many different aspects
you
that...
should take off the car, for example. You should, I think it's a better chance now to go through the YouTube and to see how to take care of the car, how to put the oil, how to maintenance the car from place to another. So it's going to be even a good knowledge for you girls. It's going to be for everybody. So taking care of the car, when to do the watering, when to check the tires, when to do like an annual checkout for the car. All this stuff is going to be like a good education. So you men, if you said, oh, got a problem with my engine, for example, so your wife is going to jump up and say, hey, I went to a worker shop and he told me to do this and this and that. So why don't you just do it and you're going to be strong like me? Are you going to be as strong like me? As strong like me? It's going to go like this. So what's going to happen here? It's going to be a good thing to have a good knowledge and education about your car.
Well, I already do. And I do know there are so many women. I can actually change a car's tire. So, yes, never underestimate a woman's passion and love for automobiles.
Oh, yeah.
I have always been the biggest fan of rides. They can be luxury, they can be mean muscle cars, they could be just about a regular SUV. But there's just something magical about the invention of automobiles that has always captured my heart. And I know that there are so many women out there who know how a car functions and what are the things that they should do and they should know in order to maintain the car. So yes, there's no such thing as cars are only for boys, and cars are made of metal, and metal is for everyone. For the moment, here it is a national song. Let us celebrate the king and celebrate the kingdom. Moving on to it, a quick national song, and we come back to lots more. Stay tuned.
Let us hear it.
عاش سلمان يا بلادي عاش سلمان عاش سلمان ملكنا عاش سلمان
عاش سلمان يا بلادي عاش سلمان عاش سلمان ملكنا عاش سلمان
والشعب كله يردد
عاش سلمان والشعب كله يردد عاش سلمان عاش سلمان يا بلادي عاش سلمان عاش سلمان ملكنا عاش سلمان عاش سلمان وغنت الأمجاد لك يا أبو فهد.
تكتب الفرحة لك أحلى قصيد افتخرنا فيك يا وجه السعد.
تكتب الفرحة لك أحلى قصيد افتخرنا فيك يا وجه السعد.
أنت سلمان
ما مثلك مثيل
وإن وجد مثلك
صدقني كثير.
أنت سلمان
ما مثلك مثيل
وين وجد مثلك.
صدقني كثير.
والشعب كله يردد
عاش سلمان
والشعب كله يردد
عاش سلمان
عاش سلمان.
يا بلادي عاش سلمان
عاش سلمان.
سلمان ملكنا عاش سلمان.
عاش سلمان.
يا عسى ربي يبارك في خطاك شعبك الوافي ما لله ذرك.
يا عسى ربي يبارك في خطاك شعبك الوافي ما لله درك.
يا عسى عمرك يا الغالي يطول نزرع الأحلام ونقطفها معاك.
يا عسى عمرك يا الغالي يطول تزرع الأحلام ونقطفها معك.
أنت سلمان
ما مثلك مثيل
وإن وجد مثلك
صدقني كثير.
أنت سلمان
ما مثلك مثيل
وين وجد مثلك.
صدقني كثير.
والشعب كله يردد
عاش سلمان
والشعب كله يردد
عاش سلمان
عاش سلمان.
عاش سلمان يا بلادي عاش سلمان.
عاش سلمان.
سلمان ملكنا عاش سلمان.
عاش سلمان.
عاش سلمان يا بلادي عاش سلمان.
عاش سلمان.
سلمان ملكنا عاش سلمان. عاش سلمان يا بلادي عاش سلمان.
سلمان.
سلمان ملكنا عاش سلمان.
سلمان.
يا بلادي عاش سلمان.
Okay, we all over here today, and yes, Ash Salman, Ash Salman, Ash Salman, and inshallah our country will go ahead and nothing gonna stop us of improving and going up. And inshallah it's going to be a perfect good year, and I can see the vision of 2030 is coming so clear in our eyes and our heads and our dreams, inshallah. But by the way, for everybody, whether a man or a woman, I think when he's going to buy his car, he should know what he's buying. It has to be really fitting the city and no dream scales. Try to be realistic about it, because this is the reality we're living. We should know everything about the traffic. We should know everything about how to maintain our cars. So what do you think about this, Nihaba? About the educate ourselves about it. It's very important.
I always say whichever car it is that you fancy, if you have the money to buy it, go on and do it. Why not? We only have one life, we only live once. My dream is very much around the numbers are 458. Let's see if that ever comes true. Let
I
us
hope
move on
she's gonna
to
handle the money. I hope so. That's it. So
For the moment, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving next door, celebrating the royal decree with Sahar Al-Harbi. Assalamu alaikum and congratulations, girl.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you. Congratulations for what exactly? I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. We're talking about numbers now. There's a lot of numbers in the news that it's kind of really fascinating. Actually, when it comes to women driving, it's as well fascinating. And what Hani just said, that really be realistic about choosing, like, don't just go up high, you know. You don't want to have a very, fancy car in a crowded place, and you're just gonna like ruin it all over again.
oh my God, you're gonna cut off and kill your budget.
Yeah, just have a car that fits the weather, fits very economic, and just go with it. There's a lot
And fits
of
your
female.
pocket.
Exactly,
It's very
most
important for
importantly.
girls to not start taking gigantic loans that they cannot pay off. So
Yeah,
let's be
true.
real in the beginning at least. But hey, we can only wish to have our dream cars, you and I both. But for the moment, Sahar, all the very best with the news.
Thank you. As speaking by numbers, there's a lot of numbers in news. But before I start, we'll go on for a short break, and we'll be right back. So stay tuned. And welcome back, dear viewers, for our news segment of the day. Starting off with our first news, Prince Faisal bin Salman inaugurates a 100 million Saudi riyals real estate investment project for orphans of Medina. Prince Faisal bin Salman, governor of Medina and chairman of the board of directors of the Takaful Welfare Society for Orphan Care in Medina, inaugurates a 100 million Saudi riyals real estate investment project to help the orphans of Medina and support the society, which takes care of 13,000 orphans and 4,200 of their widowed mothers. The prince also launched an empowerment project to enhance the skills of orphans and their mothers to ensure their success, provide them with appropriate jobs, opportunities, and support their project through 3 phases. The first phase starts by improving the skills of the orphan and their mothers through intensive professional, psychological, and social programs. The second phase is coordinating job opportunities provided by the private sector with acquired skills. The third phase will support their projects and dream. Truly, such projects like this would really help a lot of orphans, and we're very blessed to have such project being established. Moving on to the next news, strategic plan to establish 2,000 cooperative societies within 5 years to provide 200,000 jobs for Saudis. Dr. Abdullah Kidman, chairman of Cooperative Societies Council, that the adoption of a strategic plan and restructuring of the council will soon occur in order to establish 2,000 new cooperative societies within 5 years, which are expected to provide over 200,000 jobs. He said, implementing the strategic plan will require the state's support with over 900 million Saudi riyals. The council is seeking to implement its program in cooperation with the Ministries of Labor and Social Development and Environment, Water and Agriculture through the suggested initiatives aiming to develop the profits and services of the cooperative sector. Moving on to the next news, over 159,000 Saudi women employed in wholesale and retail sector in 2016. The number of female Saudi employees in the wholesale and retail sector in private sector companies stood at 159,558 at the end of 2016. Quoting Ministry of Labor and Social Development, Riyadh region topped other region in employing female workers in private sector firms, which employ 28% of the total throughout the kingdom. The report said, on the other hand, 2016 registered a growth of 8% in the employment of Saudi female staff in the finance and real estate sectors compared to figures of 2015 with 147,398 female employees. Moving on to the last news, volunteers repair houses of poor families in Riyadh. Many young Saudis find inner satisfaction through volunteer work, which also helps boost their self-confidence. In addition to acquire new experience, volunteer work allows youngsters to learn the pleasure of bringing joy to others. This was typically felt by a group of volunteers called the Story of Success Team, which launched an initiative at the beginning of last Ramadan to renovate the houses of poor and low-income people in the capital city of Riyadh. The team, supported by the grandsons of Prince Turki bin Abdulaziz, comprises 7 members and another 50 young males and female volunteers who sought to help those unable to renovate and repair their houses. Really helping people is such a good thing. It's such a good karma. What you give is soon, inshallah, what you will get. And now that's the news for today. Heading back to the next studio with Hani. Hani, what do you think of the news?
Well, Sahar, since 1996, I hear Spice Girls said girl power. Well, and this is, it's just was like a talk or, you know, shallow words. But now we can see it a realistic, 100%, especially with over 159,000 Saudi women employed in sale retail sector in 2016, and we think it's going to increase.
True. Yes, it's gradually increasing and increasing, which is nice. I mean, there's a lot of changes. I've seen, like, I've read the news, we've seen all of this, we've seen the news all over, like, what's going on in Saudi Arabia, and it's really improving. There's a lot of projects establishing, there's a lot of things that's going on that inshallah it would really really shows us the like,
and it's beautiful that we have more hands in the economic world to work and do a different. And this is not it. I was so impressed 100% about this headline. Volunteers repair houses for families in Riyadh. This is so a beautiful thing to do.
This is really nice.
We got lots of energy here in the country, girl.
I feel like I just want to volunteer. You know how the smiles and the tears of joy that you're just helping them out. It's just worth everything.
Sahar,
worth all the
making
pain.
Difference in
really
the community.
Nice. Truly, you're making a difference to those who are a little bit, you know, less fortunate, if I may say, than you are, and they're really, really happy to do so. And I'm very happy. There's a lot of volunteers, even at the Hajj. There's people who are volunteering and helping those pilgrims by, you know, spraying waters, like a lot of youngsters,
and
which
try to
is
help
really
the old
nice.
people as well. But you know what is the best thing about fixing houses or this? It's happening the whole year. So that's mean each one of us making a difference as individual, and this is the whole spirit about it. Sahar, thank you so much for being and give us this amazing, beautiful news for the day. You made our day bright as it could be.
Thank you. It is a bright day.
Oh, thank you so much, Sahar. And now, after we hear the news, why don't you go for the character of the day and the cartoon? Okay, let's see what's going on.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is all in celebrations. I mean, what more could we ask from the father of the nation to be allowing women basic rights that we did not have the authority to practice before. And now, inshallah, with the process of the upcoming months, we would learn about the process and the proceedings of how that dream will become a reality. But for the moment, it very much is a beautiful dream that all of the women in the country are living with. It is just such a stunner for what happened last night. We need to remember this date because this date is going into the history books.
All right.
For the moment, we're moving to something.
We're going to remove it. By the way, soon the women now are driving the cars and they have to pay for gasoline, but they have to make their legs stronger, not by wearing high heels, by switching and do the things in the car. So this is the way it is. It's going to be. You should work out your legs, girl, now, and men as well, because in the everybody knows people who use cars a lot, they tend to have problem in the joints. So that means when you take care of your knees and your legs, you're going to drive fine and well. And this is our segment today, Nihat. It's going to be about the legs exercise. So why don't we go for the legs exercise and see what's going on in this segment. And by the way, you got to concentrate. You want to end up with the chicken legs. Watch it.
The biggest guy in the gym should be the nicest, most helpful guy in the gym. I'm Muscle Militia Captain Ronnie Milo, and I pay it forward. What we're training today is legs. We're going to start with calves, roll into our hamstrings and our quads. The goal is to get a good volume-based workout, to get a good contraction of the muscle. And we're sacrificing a little bit of the weight today for more of a form. When you concentrate a little bit more form, I think you really get down to the nitty-gritty of breaking down your muscle to build some up. So today's workout is 8 exercises, starting off with calves, rolling into hamstrings, and then quads. So today we're moving at a fast pace, should take no more than 60 minutes. So the first exercise today is going to be seated calf raises. I like to typically warm up a little bit, anywhere from rep range 15 to 20 reps to get the kind of blood in the muscle a little bit. And then when I feel a little bit more comfortable, then I start loading up the weight. I like to work backwards, heavy to light. You want to kind of concentrate on the balls of your feet and kind of feel like you're pushing off your big toe more than the rest of your toes, just to give that concentration right on that medial head. So I go into the standing calf raise because I like the variation of the different angle for the muscle. Now for the rep range, I do a good warm-up set, and then I can go right into the heavy weight for 3 sets. The first one, 8 to 10, and then drop 10% of the weight, and then go from 10 to 12, drop 10% of the weight, and just go as much as you possibly can. And I don't use any kind of platform to put my feet on or any kind of plate or anything like that, because I feel that if you go past 90 degrees, that you put a lot of stress on your Achilles tendon. But also, too, it doesn't really take a lot of stress off that muscle, so you can actually work out harder and longer. So we're done with calves. I'm going to roll into some hamstring exercises, and the first exercise we're going to do is some seated hamstring curls. We're pretty much going to do 3 sets. We're going to have a good warm-up set, but then we're going to work heavy to light, dropping 10% of the weight. Rep range, we're going to go, obviously, first set with the heavy set, we're going to go from 8 to 10, and then we're going to go from 10 to 12, and then we're going to drop 10% again from 12 to, pretty much failure. If you're going at a fast rate, you're not going to feel it as much as possible. So a nice, slow, steady tempo, and just pretty much concentrate on the exercise and that, contraction. This one's going to be using the leg press machine, but we're going to do a variation of it. We're going to keep our feet very high on the platform, almost to your heels are just the only thing on the platform at that time. We're going to come down to 90 degrees, and then we're going to actually push on our heels, and that's going to actually engage most of your hamstrings. Definitely get a good warm-up set with it, and then we're going to go as heavy as possible, depending on your weight or what you're comfortable with, to get a good set between 6 to 8 reps. And then we're going to go from 10 reps to 12, and then the next set we're going to drop 10%, and we're going to go, we're going to finish it out 12 to failure. So we're going to roll into now is the stiff-legged deadlifts. You could do 2 different variations. You could use the barbell or you could use the dumbbells. I choose the dumbbells because I feel that I can control the weight a little bit better. We're going to do 3 sets. You pretty much should have been warmed up by now, so we can go right into comfortable weight, nothing too heavy that you're really going to hurt yourself on. You go 6 to 8 reps again, drop 10%. We're going to go 10 to 12, drop 10% for the third one, and then we're going to go from 12 to failure. I like to keep the dumbbells close to my body to, drive from the heel and then come all the way down and get a good stretch, to where it's not painful, but to where it feels comfortable, and then start this rep again. So we're going to roll into the quads now. Our first exercise we're going to be performing is the leg extension. So I like to do singles first for a little warm-up, and then obviously rolling into a heavy set. We're going to be doing 3 sets. The first one's going to be at a pretty heavy weight, but comfortable enough that you're not putting too much stress on the knees. And we're going to be performing 6 to 8 reps with that one. The second set, we're going to drop 10%, and we're going to perform 10 to 12 reps. And then for the third set, we're going to drop 10%, and then we're going to finish it out 12 to maybe failure. Back in the day, I used to use a gym that the leg sled was inverted, so I'm trying to replicate it here, with the Smith machine. Not every gym has a Smith machine, or not every gym has an inverted leg press, but you could be creative on your own. To set it up, it all depending on your gym and what you guys have. Today we're using the box, but you want to obviously set it up underneath that, you're going to be almost at a 90-degree angle from the bar. We definitely recommend you put the stops up just in case, safety first. So we're going to do 3 sets. The first set, obviously, is going to be your heaviest. Tips on this one is really to concentrate on that quad. That's going to help me build out some outer sweep and some inner thigh. If I'm on stage, I can look more three-dimensional with that leg exercise. So now we roll into what I like to do as a finisher. I like to do some walking lunges. You could do them stationary if you'd like. But I like to do walking lunges, obviously, to get some momentum going and to mix it up a little bit. So I do probably 2 sets. What I like to try to do is take a weight that's comfortable that I could do, 10 reps on each leg, take a little bit of break, and then repeat the process. Yeah, this one, it's a wake-up call. It takes a lot out of you, to do them. You got to really concentrate on your form of this, and a lot of people say don't put your knees past your toes. It all depending on, on what you feel comfortable with. If you want to go halfway down, if you want to go all the way down, but you want to really make sure that you're putting that emphasis on that quad, that hamstring, and that glute.
So ladies and gentlemen, that is the workout session for the day. Now for all those of you who cannot possibly have the time to do all of those variety of different exercises, one great way to keep your legs fit is to go ahead in life and start brisk walking. But for the moment, ladies and gentlemen, let us quickly get back to one of the biggest decisions in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia regarding the female empowerment. We are delighted to be talking on the issue of the decree that has been issued by the custodian of the Two Holy Mosques with the extremely distinguished guest on call, Dr. Samia Al Amoudi. She's a consultant obstetrician and a gynecologist, a woman that we all very much know. For the moment, we would like to say Assalamu alaikum and good morning, Dr. Samia, and thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to talk
now,
to you and your audience. Yes.
Dr. Samia, last night the custodian of the Two Holy Mosques has issued a historic royal decree. What are your feelings and sentiments?
Well, it's like you've said, it's a historical moment that have changed the face of women in Saudi Arabia. I think this is the greatest achievement that we are witnessing. My generation from the 80s, they were not as lucky as the new generation, where they are now having all this empowerment in every aspect, and particularly empowering them about their rights and freedom of movement, driving cars. It was not something unexpected, but it was not expected to be that soon. This is a great surprise to many people.
So, Dr. Samia, this degree is all about women and ladies. So how this degree will empower the women and make them change or make a difference in the community?
Well, it will impact life of women in different ways, whether socially, economically, it will give them the power of movement. For example, for the doctors and physicians in particular, we do face this problem if we are on call or at home and they call us for a delivery. Then you have to be ready. You have to have a driver 24 hours standby. Sometimes you get stuck if you don't have driver, so you can miss a delivery. Women, those who are divorced or widows, they suffer a lot if they cannot afford to have a driver. So this is another thing. And economically, you can talk about it in different way. It's more cost effective that we could drive a car than to get a driver.
Most definitely. Now, Dr. Samia, your name is synonymous with female empowerment. You have led the way of raising awareness about the most tabooed topic related to females, that was breast cancer. So, ma'am, in this leg, now that the royal decree is issued, how important do you think it is for us females to raise the awareness about the responsibility that comes with driving?
Well, this is a very good question. You remember in last May, there was a decree as well issued that women can and should have all the services that they need without requesting male guardian to approve for, especially in health and education. So in health issues, now this empowerment in health rights, it will have a great impact on their health rights in getting whether the screening, treatment, decision for surgeries, for medical issues. So the woman will be more empowered, although by the Sharia law and by the law of Ministry of Health, this is guaranteed in the law of Saudi Arabia. But what we needed was the empowerment and to emphasize this, and this is why the royal decree that was issued in May 2017 that will that increases the empowerment, emphasizes it more and more.
Well, Dr. Samia, we always hear this problem between the drivers and the girls or ladies in the cars. So you think, according to your point of view, of course, definitely, Dr. Samia, the driving or the degree of driving for ladies is going to eliminate some problems in the community?
Definitely. Definitely. Like, I mean, it's not only for the working woman. For those who are not working, they can take their kids to the school, they can go to the hospital. Sometimes the husband is away, sometimes he is out of the country. So this is one part. So the empowerment will come in from different angles.
Most definitely. Now, Dr. Samia, speaking about this vivid change that has come very much in line with the Vision 2030 for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia as well, tell us as to how it is that it's very important for our male counterparts of the society to accept the decision wholeheartedly as well and to probably just make some way on the streets for us.
If I understand your question, you are talking about the acceptance of the society or those who are resistant to the change. Well, this is natural thing. You never have people agree on something 100%. But I think the people now are more aware. If you look at our daughters and sons, they are totally different than our generation. They are more mature, they understand their rights, they request their rights, so they value these. I think the society is ready and the majority are ready for that.
All right, so the changes takes time, and there's lots of people who's going to resist the changes, as you mentioned, Dr. Samia. But what do you think, how long it's going to take to make women stable and let's say it's going to be something real or normal? Is it going to take a very long time?
I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I think the people are ready once they have started issuing the license. It will be something normal with a couple of months, if not less.
All right, so it's going to be something positive for everybody, right?
I think so. I'm very optimistic about it. I'm very optimistic about men who are supporting this. It's not only the women. And I think if you look at Twitter and the social media, you can sense the acceptance and how people are looking to that day.
Most definitely. Now, Dr. Samia, we do know the last 5 years have been extremely empowering for females. Speaking of women like yourself who have made a name for the country when it comes to medicine, there are now females in the Shura Council and so many of the varying degrees of corporations, international organizations that have female CEOs now, something that we never thought of will ever happen. So that change took place and it is very much accepted. Do you think it is something important for female to prove themselves as good drivers in order for some part of the society that's not accepting to accept?
Well, these things, they go by itself. And I think the female usually, if you look at the statistics even internationally, the female, they are less in the rate of incidence of accidents compared to the male. I don't want to be to show any discrimination, but I don't think this will be a problem. They don't have to prove anything because it will go by nature and things will be will go smoothly.
So, Dr. Samia, what do you think about the timing of this degree?
Wow, it's the right timing. And it came by surprise. We were prepared that one day it will happen, but we did not expect it to be that soon. I think this is the right moment. If you look at the rapid changes and rapid empowerment of women over the last couple of years, you can sense that things are going very fast, very rapidly. And one of the major things happened yesterday.
Most definitely. And with this, we really thank you, Dr. Samia, for joining us on this very historical day. And we wish you all the very best. Also, we hope that, inshallah, you make time for us and join us on the show sometime.
Shukran. Thank you so much for giving me this chance. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the fantastic Dr. Samia Al Amoudi who is joining us and sharing her opinions over the royal decree that has been issued last night, made public. Let us move on now to celebrate this great country and the great leadership with a fantastic national song. So here it is, and then we come back to lots more.
دار السعود حامين أرضه مع السماه. والله لو يفنى الوجود حنا على الملة عصاه، حنا على الملة عصاه.
أخويا عن عرضي يذود يا سيف ستري والعبها في الليل بيارق والوعود وطعنا خشم الطغى. أخويا عن عرضي يذود يا سيف ستري والعبها في الليل بيارق والوعود وطعنا خشم الطغى. اختك عمى عين الحسود في حلق عدوانك حصى،
اختك على عين الحسود في حلقة عدوانك حصى لا ترحم اليوم الجحود بدت شرايدهم حفا لا ترحم اليوم الجحود بدت شرايدهم حفا بدت شرايدهم حفا حميني أرضه ما سماه لو والله لو يفنى الوجود حنا على المله عصا يهيه مرقنا سنود والحرب حنا منتهى حبيت ياها في الجدود والله ما تلمس ترى يهيه مرقنا سنود والحرب حنا منتهى حبيت ياها في الجدود والله ما تلمس ترى جيناك الموت الشرود شهيدنا بموت حياة جيناك الموت الشرود شهيدنا بموت حياة يا العز بلبس لك عقود والحرب فتتنا راحة يا العز بلبس لك عقود والحرب فتتنا راحة والحرب فتتنا راحة السعود ما سماه حنا على المله عصا يفنى الوجود حنا على المله عصا بنثر على الدنيا ورود واغطرف بيوم الغلا يا جيشنا شاف الكبود واخوان نوره مبتدى بنثر على الدنيا ورود واغطرف بيوم
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So we have been celebrating as women in the country, and hopefully the men are going to follow suit. Today, for the moment, moving on towards our next topic of discussion, we will be talking about the effectiveness of communication skills. And I, for one, think I'm the queen of communication skills. But we are going to be learning more about that with Mr. Nizar Musa. He's a training manager. Assalamu alaikum and good morning.
Sam, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Nizar, today, by all means, was a historical day for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I have been chanting slogans for what an amazing time it is. So, talking about communication skills, it very much comes in line with being able to express yourself in a way that is not resentful for the person who's listening.
Yeah, sure. This has to bring us to something very essential in communication skills, by the way, which is the communication cycle itself. So if somebody understands the communication cycle by itself and, let's say, maneuver around it and works in a way that makes him very confident in speaking, because, you know, communication doesn't go only on speaking. We have different kinds of media of communication.
Like yin and yang, listener and talker.
Yeah, sure. So the first thing we have to understand is the communication cycle. So if you would like to know something about it, I believe everybody has something about it, but not maybe from a scientific point of view. So we have just to set this rule, which is the communication cycle itself. So we need to understand that communication is based on a sender and the receiver, and between them there's a kind of message. But in order to say this is a cycle, the cycle has to be completed. So what do you think is the...
Before we're going to go to the cycle, I'm going to
Yeah.
tell you something, Mr. Nizar. So you're a training manager. Now we got the issue of the degree of woman driving. So it's going to be the street woman and men and everybody driving. So the communication is somehow we have a lack with it. Not just in life and talk and give and take or work, even in driving between men and women. And do you remember that book? It say woman from, I think, Venus, men from Mars, something
Mars,
like
yeah.
this. The lack of communication. So how's the cycle is going to help all that?
Yeah, okay. As I've told you, if everybody understands the cycle, this is going to be helpful to all males and females, especially on the roads. So, for example, if I say a wheel, I have to differentiate between a steering wheel and the tire. So I prefer that females onwards start working on the word tire instead of wheel. So, for example, in order just to avoid that miscommunication. Okay, so sometimes somebody will understand it in a different way. So if we understand that communication cycle and work upon it, it's going to be very helpful, and we're going to avoid a lot of miscommunication which may happen on the streets.
Yes.
And even in workshops, in car workshops.
So everything related.
Yeah.
So how we deal with this cycle? What is it exactly?
Okay. As I've told you maybe at the beginning, we have a sender and receiver. This is something essential. And the message between them has to be completing the cycle. So a feedback has to be there. We don't have only sender, receiver, and sending a message. This kind of message could be verbal, could be non-verbal. However, a kind of feedback has to close this cycle. So for example, if I am now speaking over the phone with somebody and I'm telling him some information, and at a point of time I don't hear him speaking, I'll stop, right?
That you have to give you some signs that he's still listening.
Yes.
Like,
yeah. These ha, yes, I am there. These tell you, these are non-verbal communication, let's say, gestures, which make the other party, the other side, understand that you are completing that cycle. Yes, you're following. So we need just to keep in mind this all the time, regardless if our communication is written, verbal, non-verbal, etc.
And it's a body language as well, and the voice. I mean, the accent of the voice.
Yeah, this is going to be...
Or the tone.
Yeah, we're going to talk about this into details as well. Okay? So, in general, we need to understand the cycle. We need to teach our children, because this is an issue which is in the community in general. A lot of people think that if I leave my child, my kid, he or she will learn from the, let's say, TV or school or different kinds of information resources, okay? Okay, that's very nice. For example, now children watching this channel would be very nice for everybody, because they're gonna learn a lot of information. However, they need to get different kinds of sources to get the information.
Like the communication by mother and father with their kid?
Yes.
And it's going to be a role model for them?
Yes, sure. As you can see, as you notice these days, we don't have the same time dedicated from the fathers, the parents, and everybody to the children.
No, iPad is there and internet and everything
else. Yeah. So at the point of time, you would see that sometimes autism is these days is a lot of an issue. Okay,
autism?
Autism
is a genetic problem, I guess.
But I believe, okay, so, there are some people who are scientists in this field. However, I believe we have to make communication better in order to avoid something which can lead to autism or other things, okay? I'm not a professor
but you
in this.
Give us one of the symptoms or the reasons to cause the autism.
Maybe, according to some resources, according to some feedback I got from people who are specialized in this field. Yes, they told me some children get this kind of autism due to a lack of communication at the house itself.
Well, we're going to go now, Mr. Nizar Musa, for a report to see what's going on there, and don't go away, we'll come back to you. Okay, so let's see the report and we'll complete what we just stopped at.
Peter, I want to talk talk to you about this afternoon's client meeting because there's something very particular I wanted to make sure that you know about
Yeah,
the
I
way
know.
this
We got to
group
get the food there on time this time, Joanne.
Yes, we have to get the food on time, but
So
that's not it.
embarrassing
This is a culturally different group than what we're used to.
Well, we can't
And-
order Chinese food?
No, it's not the Chinese food. It's that this group manages Q&A differently.
I just want to make sure that Chinese food is better than it was last time.
It's not the food. It's
so
the Q&A.
embarrassing both times. I can't believe it.
Peter, it's the way they manage Q&A. They're
Q&A
not
is
gonna-
not a problem for me, Joanne. I'm really fine with Q&A. It's where I shine.
It's not you. It's them.
How's
They
my
don't.
tie?
The tie's fine.
Okay, good. Don't worry about the Q&A. It'll be fine. I'll see you later.
Peter, you're not listening to me.
Ignore distractions and focus. First, don't interrupt. Second, make good eye contact. And third, paraphrase for understanding.
Peter, I want to talk to you about this afternoon's client meeting because there's something very particular I want to make sure you know about this group.
All right, what is it?
Well, they're a Japanese group. They don't interact during Q&A in the same way.
So what does it mean for me?
Well, it means that you should probably plan to lecture a little bit more and then break into smaller groups. Don't expect the same amount of interaction.
Okay, so for Q&A, really don't expect that lecture more because they're not going to say too much.
Exactly.
Got
That's it.
Okay, see you later.
Good. And hey, I like that tie.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So that was a report where you were seeing a very standard banter between man and wife and how it goes on. It's very important for us to listen in order for us to be heard. So we need to remember that there's no such thing as one gender being better at any of those given traits. For the moment, we're in discussion with Mr. Nazar Musa. He is a training manager. So now, Mr. Nazar, we had a report that was entirely based upon communication skills.
Yeah.
If you would like to comment on that.
Yeah, sure. The elements of communication have to be understood by everybody.
Like we see the video and
Yeah.
they're not listening. You can see that they're not listening to each other and he's ignoring her and she say this and this and that.
Yeah.
Drop dead. So what's happening? What is the elements you're talking about?
Yeah,
and the comments?
as you can see, the lady and the gentleman are talking about two different ideas because he has assumed that he understood what she has already said.
Yes.
But actually he didn't. So even if you look at the second video, because we have two parts, the second part of the video shows you that if he listens more,
What's going to happen?
Yeah, if he gives her the chance to express what she's going to say about the whole situation, it's going to be even shorter in terms of time. So we don't have to, for example, these pieces of advice are very very important.
This is the elements.
Yeah,
Can you tell us about it?
Okay, so when there's a scientist, a professor currently in University of California, Los Angeles. His name is Albert Mehrabian. Albert Mehrabian has made a kind of study in the 1960s, early in the 1960s, and so far it's taken by a lot of trainers and a lot of people in the science of communication. It's talking about only the three most important elements of communication.
We got three.
Yeah.
Okay.
So words
Words.
is number one. Number two is the way we speak, which is the voice. You have already mentioned that.
Yeah.
So the voice, and also when we talk about the body language.
Like
which
the
is-
eye contact, for example?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's very important.
So eye contact is one of the most important elements within the body language itself.
Okay.
And by the way, according to his study, when some research was done in accordance with people speaking the same language, face-to-face communication, he found that words play only 7% of the conveyed message. You can imagine.
Oh.
See? However, the voice when you speak plays a role of 38%. And the rest 55% goes to
Body language. So that's mean, you know what is the weird thing? Sometimes we meet people in the street. They never talk with us, but the way they look at us and the way we see their body language, we've been offended or we feel good about them. Yes, it might be.
Yes.
It's all about the body language and the way we communicate with others.
Yeah, imagine if you're speaking to a disabled person and he's got a lack of communication. I mean, he's, for example, deaf or
He
mute.
cannot speak.
Okay, can't speak. Now, this person regularly can communicate. So communication is not only speaking. So we need to know that 55% of our communication goes into the body language, how we speak, how we express the thoughts in our minds into gestures and movements that people see in general.
It's like the way
Right.
we pass the message.
Yeah.
So by the end of the day, the most important thing is to have a smile on your faces whenever it is that you're talking, because that way you seem to be a warmer, a much nicer person, and we all look our best when we are smiling. Plus, it's sunnah. So, Mr. Musa, we understand that body language plays a vital role in how it is that our message is conveyed. Sometimes we meet people that leave us confused because they seem to have like a nice cheerful voice, but then they have a blank poker face. So you don't understand whether they're happy talking to you or whether they are unhappy being with you. So how it is that we should also give some other person the benefit of the doubt that maybe they're having a bad day.
And they don't have friends. Those poker faces or B faces, they don't make really good in social life.
Yeah, sure. So one of the biggest important things in this regard is the culture itself. Because if I understand, for example, being here in Saudi Arabia for more than 10 years would give me a kind of idea about the Saudi culture. So I can understand everything or mostly everything about whatever they say, even in some let's say slogans, some words which have some codes between, for example, the young guys these days. So if somebody is new to the culture, will not understand everything. So we need to understand these gestures and movements of the people. For example, different cultures, without mentioning some names, would have some ideas expressed in some movements. So some people may have a nod, for example, regularly in the Arab countries, regularly our nod, this means yes, without even saying.
And if we go to India, they do like this.
Yeah.
So each culture got their own
see, and
habits,
this makes sometimes miscommunication, by the way.
Oh yeah, it does a lot. So we should understand each other culture.
Yeah, imagine that you are used to somebody
something like
making this as yes, and somebody comes making this as yes. So you understand that this is no,
yes,
right?
Exactly, yes. If you go to Lebanon, this is so and so. But in India, it's like indeed. Yeah,
okay.
This is the difference.
So just back to her question. In general, when we have some movements and we have to understand these movements, we can't say that these are 100% for sure they have this meaning. So for example, if I am having an interview at work and the manager sits with this position, with this posture, I believe some people will understand that this is, for example, he's a little bit defensive. He wants just to
or
show,
uninterested.
or uninterested, for example.
He's closed.
Closed. But maybe this is his nature, or this is his culture. So it depends. So it depends on understanding the cultures of others.
But you know what is the awkward thing? Even animals, if you make communication with them, like the pets in the house, like the cats.
Yeah.
We look at the eyes. We do some kind of gesture by the voice. Subhanallah, they can move. You know, they can do whatever we are looking for.
Yeah, sure.
So that's mean words is not everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about the elements. So how we say about the listening, how to be, we know how to be active in talking.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. But what about listening?
Listening is something very important, as we know, because it has regularly 5 levels of listening, by the way.
5 levels?
Yeah, we have 5 levels of listening. And when we talk about the 5 levels of listening, we have to understand first that we should use our ears more than our mouth. Okay? So to be a leader, even some leaders in great positions in all over the country and all over the world would be good listeners. So a leader has to be a good listener, first of all, and has to go that ladder of levels of listening one by one until reaching the last one, or the highest one. So the first one is what we call ignoring listening. That somebody speaking, I consider
like
that
what we see in the video here.
Yeah, ignoring. Even I'm not listening. I'm just hearing, but not listening. And you know, there's a big difference between them.
I hate
Obviously.
that.
Okay.
It's heaven.
Yeah.
With the parents and the kids, they're
Yeah.
talking and the parents ignoring.
Ignoring, and sometimes they make a kind of appreciation for their participation as children, but they make the second one or the second level, which is pretending. Like I pretend I'm listening to you, I'm having an eye contact with you.
It happens.
Yeah, it happens sometimes. So you have an eye contact with somebody.
And
however,
some people are very good with that.
Yeah, however,
it's like
his-
acting this.
Yeah, his mind, and even, by the way, just go to the relationship between man and lady, and
It
man and
happens,
woman,
huh?
especially husband and wife. It becomes a kind of issue if he pretends, and just guess what happens when she discovers by asking him, so
What do you think?
yeah, what did I say?
Oh, and here comes the problem.
Yeah, see.
So this is the second one, pretending.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretending. So the next one is the selective listening. I listen to you, however, what goes with my principles, with my ideas, I just take. Other things I just ignore.
Ah.
Okay, so
Selective listening.
this is the selective listening.
I want to hear what I want to hear.
Yeah.
Just.
Okay.
Okay.
And the fourth level is the attentive listening. And because of this, in even some business interviews, they focus on having the interviewee with that skill of attention to details. So they come and ask him some questions.
And the final one?
And the final one is the empathetic one. Okay.
Intensive, you mean?
Yeah, with empathy.
With empathy.
Yeah.
Oh, this is with the heart. He's
Yeah,
listening
yeah,
with the heart. With
So, for
passion.
example, when you have empathy with somebody, it means that you understand, you listen, and understand everything. You put yourself in that place, and you even sometimes may cry because
put yourself in the
of a
person's
sad
shoes.
story. Yeah.
Fantastic.
I like
and
to think like this when they gave me raise. I like to put my heart with the person to say, you are having a raise. It feels so beautiful. Yeah. you're
well, never
absolutely right.
mind, honey. For the moment, we'd really like to thank you, Mr. Nazar. That was a wonderful discussion, and we do hope to see you again in the future.
We need to ask him something. Are we good communicator, me and Nihat?
Sure.
We are?
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
Even if we aren't, he will say yes.
No. Let me be honest with you. Your body language is very gorgeous in general, by the way.
so
And
much.
by the way, before having that pleasure of sitting down here with you, I've seen you many times on TV. So your body language is very nice. Just keep going on this, because remember, 55% of your message will go to the people through your body language.
So we're not
Bravo,
pretending. We're
fantastic.
not pretending. Okay?
Yeah.
And now with this, we would
Okay,
like to
that's it.
thank you, Mr. Nazar Musa, for joining us.
You're
For the
welcome.
moment, ladies and gentlemen, a quick short break. Keep smiling, because that conveys the best messages.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So today is the day where we celebrate the beautiful royal decree that has been issued just to empower females more. It is a responsibility and an obligation on all of us as females to carry it with utmost grace and empowerment forward. But for the moment, since I'm all about female empowerment, we are going to be moving on with our next segment, which is all about Saudi nationals and their fantastic achievements. For the day today, we are focusing on Ms. Dua Abu Al-Ala. She has published a scientific paper, the first of its kind in the field of stem cells. Now, her research work most definitely is going to be helping science and technology within the country and abroad as well. It is just so beautiful to be seeing women in all of the fields really marking their territories and proving that they are not behind, they're not regressive, they are very much on point with all of the developments that are happening in the world. So we would like to congratulate Ms. Dua
we're gonna say
for the research paper.
100%. Dua Abul Ala, congratulations for what you're doing. And by the way, stem cells is the future for everything. Some people are growing hearts and organs by the stem cells, even the nervous system. Nobody find a cure for it just by the stem cells. So it's the future for the next 10 years at least. And they still, discovering and, open the DNA of this stuff because it's hard to find. But publishing a paper and do a research in this thing, that's mean it takes lots of her to go out with a resolution. So congratulations. And by the way, girl, you're making challenges. Good for you. And we hope to hear about a man next time. Too much ladies today. I'm very proud of you girls, and inshallah it's going to be more and more. It doesn't matter. The most important thing, we are Saudis. We are really trying to serve our country by the best way. It's not about the gender. It's not about who and is. It's about how you serve and how you give and how you leave your fingerprints. That's what I think. What do you think about this?
Absolutely. It is a fantastic day. And I say this all the time. It's like one of my taglines. I always say it is a great time to be a woman in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We've always been cherished in this beautiful land of Islam. And now we are getting things that our future generations would be taking for granted, but our past didn't have. For the moment, let us move on to what's the next door studio with Sahar Al Herbi with the trending hashtag. So, is women driving trending yet?
Tomorrow, maybe. I'm joking. I mean, I think it would take like 30 days to actually implement that and
or maybe
to
longer.
Work on it, or maybe longer. But as for now, we have some different hashtag, and that's a really great discussion you've been talking about. I mean, some people, unfortunately, as what they always said, that most people are always listen, unfortunately, with the intention to reply and not with the intention to understand, True. So communication is really important. Like, you might be in a country that you don't speak the language, but hey, body language actually works.
It really does, especially when you want to order food. You can just make all of those faces like, I want the best, and without them understanding your language, they'd be like, I got you, sister, I got you.
And blink your eyes, that's mean no salt.
Really?
Yeah, body language.
No, Sahar, don't believe a word. Don't believe a word. I'm telling you.
All right, so for now, we'll go for the hashtags. But before I start, we'll go for a short break and we'll be right back.
All the best.
And welcome back, dear viewers, for our Twitter segment of the day, starting off with a very first interesting hashtag, selfie taxi. Dubai's Crown Prince Sheikh Hamdan has attended the maiden flight of the world's first self-flying taxi, but it will be at least another 5 years before it goes into public use. Provided by Germany-based Volocopter, the two-seater autonomous air taxi is being introduced by Dubai's Road and Transport Authority. It can carry 2 people without a human pilot. During the ceremony, Sheikh Hamdan launched the first AAT into the sky with the press of a button. The flying taxi service will be available to the public through an app that will allow customers to book flights, receive booking reference details, and track the route of the AAT. Volocopters. That is such a great technology. That's something really big, and no one ever wondered, or like 10 years before, you would think, would there be a flying drone that could carry us? Well, 5 years and it will take. I mean, like you guys could see the videos, you can see how amazing that is. That's like a new technology that could help in a lot of sectors, as well could help in the medical sectors. Imagine a volocopter could help in the medical sectors for let's just say, an unfortunate event, a car accident or something, and a volocopter would come and pick you up and go. Like, that is really amazing. That's a very technology now, and this technology is really, I mean, look at that video, guys. Look at that. That's really amazing. And someday it's going to be in our use. Less traffic. Now it's like equalized in the ground and in the air. That is really beautiful, and hope sooner we would see such technologies in this grateful, beautiful country. So now that's our first hashtag. Moving on to the next hashtag, Jennifer Lopez. Jennifer Lopez is donating $1 million to hurricane relief efforts in Puerto Rico. The 48-year-old singer and actress who revealed last week she has not heard from her family on the island since a series of hurricanes hit the area, has reached out with financial aid, and she and her boyfriend Alex Rodriguez are doing everything they can to help. Speaking during a press conference with the New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, she said, first in Spanish and then in English, Alex Rodriguez and I, who are both New Yorkers, are using all our resources and relationships in entertainment, sports, and business to garner support for Puerto Rico and the Caribbean. During the press conference, the Shades of Blue star admitted she still has not heard from her family, and she is concerned for both her own loved ones and everyone in the island. Jennifer previously used Instagram to urge her fans to help the aid efforts in Puerto Rico. Well, we hope that J-Lo would hear from her family soon, and no matter how, back to what we were talking and discussing earlier about helping people, no matter how rich you are or poor you are, helping is always good, and that's a human instinct, and that's what really makes us a better human, which makes this a better world to live in. Now that's our hashtag for today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Now moving on to the next studio with Hani. How did you like the hashtags?
Well, the hashtags are interesting today, especially the taxi are flying and we going on the air and no problem with the traffics.
Right, it's interesting. It's really interesting. I mean, it begins with a taxi, and then later on it's going to be a volocopter ambulance. You know, and then it's going to be like, it's been studied.
Okay, the ambulance already started, okay, and I think there's no driver, right?
It's an autopilot, yes.
An auto, yeah. This is, I heard about it, it's already been in California now, in New York City, and it's going to be in Saudi Arabia very soon. And by the way, I'm kind of scared when I'm going to be there, because I'm going to talk with myself the whole time.
It's interesting. Imagine you're on an airline and you're like autopilot, there's no one around you.
And you want to say, please park here. Oh my God, I'm alone.
Well, it's, you know, it is like, no parking. I'll park wherever I want. I'm autopilot here. You're not the pilot.
And you know what? Jennifer Lopez always got a, you know, a big heart for her community, the Latin community. We heard about she's trying to support them by being in the media, by singing and dancing. We can see every day in the TV. But now she did it even better.
There's a lot of stars. Jennifer Lopez, and yesterday's hashtag Demi Lovato, and as well as Beyonce is helping their community, which is really nice to see and really great to see. It's just beautiful. I'm just speechless, you know.
But
and volunteers
really, Jennifer Lopez, she's
helping
doing this charity
repairing
from a long
houses. I mean, what else could we ask for more?
Yeah, really. J-Lo and Mark Anthony, they have already organization for supporting the Latin big people in America. And what she's doing is very beautiful for her community, and that's what we are doing. Thank you so much, Sahar, for this.
Thank you.
Okay, till we catch you again. So after we talked about J-Lo on the house, and by the way, she is stunning since we remember her. If you catch my heart, or if you have my heart, I think it was 1999. It was #1 for quite a long time, and then
honey.
she did a lot.
We're not giving her a Grammy for that performance.
Well, she took it already. She doesn't need it from us. Anyway, we're gonna go and move now to the studio, and he got with us Harry Potter, and he got everything we need to share with him now. Okay, he's famous also. So anyway, we got with us here in the studio Mr. Sultan Al Fawaz. He's journalist, not just like that. He's also a reporter in Riyadh Radio, so he talk and he write, and he's really here. So assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, Mr. Hani, and you are my friend right now, because
of course we're colleagues since I remember.
We have the same job what we do, but I am journalist reporter, and
okay, he got more credit than me. So he's journalist and radio, a host. Okay, so we're just a presenter. So hi, how are you?
I'm okay. I'm so glad to meet you today, and to have this interview between me and you and me, and between Miss
Nihad.
Thank you for the acknowledgement.
Okay, the good news that both of us been in the radio, okay, for a quite long time, and we know how it goes. It's with the voice. There's specifically concentrating your chords, and you have to give the people message by your sound and your words. But what is the important thing of the radio nowadays?
Well, let me start from the beginning to say for you that the beginning, Benito Mussolini, the ex-president of Italian, he was said once upon a time in Second World War, the journalism is not permission, is a mission. So, which is our mission, in fact, in radio, to make the reflections about the streets to the people and to make the reflections about some events, so many different things and so many difficult things in addition of this, if I can say it, for let the people hear it. The people, they doesn't just listening to your voice, they listening to even the feedback of the voice in your background. They should be listening to this.
It has to be all in one room.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yes.
So we should to make them, give them that feelings. We should to give them that.
We make them live in it.
Yes, we make them live the moment where we are living in it. This is the point.
This is our job.
Yeah, you try it.
And I did it.
You should too.
What about you? How do you feel with this experience? Try to make your audience or people, listeners actually, living with you in the same moment.
Well, let me say for you something. 6 years ago, I was keep working at the radio, and I still working at the radio. And this is experience. Sometimes, you know, some mistakes is coming in the Arabic language when I talk in Arabic. Some people they said, you say like this in Arabic, and because you know قواعد اللغة العربية, some of the dictionary of Arabics, they said you shouldn't say it like this, you should say it like that. You know, such as some poems say that Arabic language is a sea and it's bigger so much. And also, you know, many language. It's
now, Mr. Sultan, speaking about the radio, I mean, I have done it, and I love the freedom that you do not need to care about how you look. The only thing you have to do is to sound good and to do, you know, a good job with giving out the right message. Like in the TV, you know, we need to have our hair right. We need to be wearing like nice clothes. In the radio, it doesn't matter whether you're doing the show with your feet up. So tell us, do you think like, you know, that gives more attention to the content, and it's, you know, you're more focused on what you're going to do with your job instead of thinking about what you have to look like?
Okay, let me tell you something in the beginning. Sometimes when we have some kind of conversation or we have a press conference, we shouldn't go, in fact, like we don't have our traditional wear, or we go normal.
Nothing official, huh?
Nothing official. We shouldn't. We should to make like this because, for example, when you will meet somebody who's their responsibility about these places or that places, you should give them the great feelings, the great feelings and also the great looks. Like, and in addition of that, for example, when I want to go to make some kind of report from the street or something like this, also I have to keep wear the same wear how I wear like this. Why? The people they like the strong things and also they like the good lookings. For example, you can say if I will wear jeans or I will wear some kind of, and I want to make an interview, they will not believe that even if I am journalist reporter.
You have to give them an impression.
Yes, exactly. And we can say everybody, his reflection photo about what's his job and what he's do.
Exactly.
This is the reality.
Well, I have for you something. I have for you a game now. You have to play it with the audience. I'm going to give you 3 rules. Try to do it now. Soon you're a reporter and radio host. So first one, can you be official with the people? Okay, you have to read something for them now. Show them the official sound.
هنا إذاعة المملكة العربية السعودية من العاصمة الرياض. This is we can say it in
Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, make them feel happy and excited. كل عام وأنتم بخير.
We can say like this, but also there's no problem. We can say for the people who they are listening and watching us in the channel 2 that كل عام وأنتم بخير والوطن بخير.
Okay, we want to say something like Hamas. So, you know, like not excited, what we can say to make people attracted and hearing you, like something entertainment. Can you do that?
Okay, in the beginning, let me just we say our prayer for our soldiers in the Jazan and Najran because I was there for 10 days and I was make some kind of report. Sorry. And in addition of that, I was meet some kind of generals there, and we was give also the reflections about what is happening in Jeddah and Najran in the radio system, and also in the radio, and we put it in the air and on live, and we give some proud about our soldiers, what they are do there, and when they was make some kind of how to say, they make some kind of helping of the people inside Jeddah and Najran, and also when the militias of Al Houthi they are attacking us, we also make like this record. And we make everything's in live. Well, let me say in the beginning, we are proud of our soldiers.
We are.
And also we are proud of our leaderships in all the country and all the region. And we pray for the God for them, for the help them, and also for they give them the most support. This is the proud things which is I
now,
have to share
Mr.
it.
Sultan, those are beautiful words. I mean, obviously, we all are extremely, immensely proud of the brave men on our borders, within our cities as well, that are there to protect and defend us.
Yes.
So we can sit over here and talk about entertainment and all of these nice things. But talking about the radio, radio very much has a big responsibility as well, because the majority of the people who are listening to the radio while they're driving.
Yes.
So it is also very important to be educating the people and to talk to them about things that actually really matter. Obviously, other than the song and the dance and the music and all of those fantastic things.
That's true. Let me tell you something. Maybe people, they doesn't like it usually, the rush.
Yeah.
But sometimes the rush is a blessing for us.
Yeah.
For the radio especially.
For the radio people especially, because sometimes in everybody, when they are hearing the radio or when they are in the car, in
a traffic jam.
Yeah, in traffic. They are in the traffic, what they can do, they cannot play in the mobile phone, because if they will play in the mobile phone, for sure, some policeman, they will catch them and they will give them some kind of
it's the easiest thing to listen, yeah.
So let them listen. When they are listening for the radio, of course, for sure they will cross for some our waves. Saudi radio, Jeddah radio, many radios, they will cross and they will listen it, for it. And in addition of that, which is it is the most important things for us, it's enough for us for they listening for us for 1 minute. You know why? Because 1 minute it will become and continue for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. So they will like this for sure.
Well, it's going to be their favorite station.
Yes, this is for sure. And especially when you know something, when we bring some kind of nice news or some nice report about some subject, we have some program. The name of it, for example, and I am work under this program. The name of it is خطوات.
خطوات.
Yeah,
yeah.
As the steps. Yes, we are talking about the work and about the people, how they are work, and in addition of that, the training of the work and the training of the job and the difficult about the work. I make some kind of...
But you know what, Vijay Sultan, I'm going to ask you something, and I've never been in this situation before. What is the difference between the radio reporter and the TV reporter? Are they the same, or there's something different between them?
There's many difference between them.
Okay.
I will tell you something, and I will make a small test after your permission for you. I want you to take your right hand like this. Take it right now.
I need
very
to
great.
do that.
Yeah, very great. I want you to shut your eye like this. This is the most thing wrong. I make you see me, but I doesn't
like
make you hear me. It was never the eyes becoming the shake, and the shake, it was never becoming eyes. You see me.
To be or not to be, yes.
You see me, but you cannot hear me.
No.
You didn't hear me. This is the point which is that I am searching about it.
The body language.
The body language. This is first thing. The second thing's in the radio, translation, I make you feel that I have a photo, and inside this photo, there's a family, and you can imagine this photo in your imagination when I say
like
this for you. Exactly.
It's like a book. But Mr. Sultan, we are all out of time. So for the people who listen to you always on the radio, they can now see you. So do you have a final message for them?
Just we can say for the people who they are watching us and listening to us, and I don't want to give some propaganda for the radio and the channel 2 after this is
go ahead, we're fine.
It's okay, no problem. Free propaganda, I appreciate for that.
We're all same establishment.
Well, I just so appreciate for that, for this is free propaganda. And we would like to say for them, you can listening to us in 91 FM 5 8:05 a.m. Saudi radio in Arabic and also in English language. They will coming in some kind of waves.
Exactly. So tune in and you'll never regret it. Please hear us. Anyway, by the way, what about your show, if you don't mind? Can you tell us a little bit about it?
What kind of show you mean?
You're the one you are hosting. What is it about? Please tell us.
Well, you can say about some, you know, we have many programs.
It's like a morning show, for example?
Morning,
like
yes.
us?
So we have a morning show like صباح الخير أحلى صباح برنامج أحلى صباح
Morning
عفواً.
show.
Yes, the name of it is the
Perfect Morning.
Perfect Morning or Sweetest Morning.
Well,
And
okay.
if you want to make the translations in exact language. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Mr. Sultan,
Yes, ma'am.
it's a pleasure hosting you. And we do hope that we get to hear you more often on the radio and that people love to hear you on the radio, inshallah. More power
Inshallah.
and more success to you. Looking forward to meeting you in the future.
Thank you so much.
For the moment, that was the fantastic Mr. Sultan Al Fawaz. He's a journalist and reporter in our neighboring station, Radio Riyadh. Thank you very much.
Thank
for
you so
joining
much.
us.
I appreciate it,
Let us move
ma'am.
on. Quick break, and then we come back to lots more.
Hey, what is the rush? We need to...
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we've been very much talking about a variety of different topics. Just right now, hosting Mr. Sultan Al Fawaz was such a pleasure. There really is an excitement to the radio because you can only imagine what the person looks like, whether they have a smile on their face, whether they're frowning when they're talking about something that they're extremely passionate about. However, the TV kind of gives it all away.
It's due. You know what I love about the radio the most thing? They put the top 10 music subjects. You can call them and chit chat with them, and in the traffic, no problems. That is the best thing about the radio, so it's never gonna die. Okay, they say TV star killed the radio. I don't think so. Still going on. And by the way, there is also a broadcast in the internet. People, even you can listen to the radio through the internet by stations all over the world. Even I think the radio, the Saudi radio Riyadh or the English channel radio here in the government, you can hear it by the internet. Just go to the YouTube and you're gonna find out about it immediately. This is the best thing about, and you don't have to dress.
Yes.
Okay, you don't have to dress to success. That is the best thing about the radio.
It was, I remember the first time, Hani, being on radio, and I was just like, wow. So I could sit in whichever way that I want. I can be sipping coffee or tea or whatever it is that I want without, you know, going on a report or without going on a break.
That's it.
So it was so amazing. It's really empowering, but I think there's no comparison between the two. They're very different.
They're different from each other, and you are counting in your voice a lot like, hello everybody, it's going to be a great morning. My eyes is buffy and I'm sleeping, but you know what I'm trying to say? Trying to be empowering you guys in the morning. Like, it's a beautiful morning, everybody go out and have fun and see the sun. So by this, ladies and gentlemen, and by the new degree of woman driving, going to say adios amigos. It's the end of our show, and of course we're going to hear the last message from the Saudi female Nihat, because it's about her today.
It is the day for women. Once again, we would very much like to extend our deepest gratitude for the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, for giving us the permission to be driving, and of course for the leadership as well with the Crown Prince and his Vision 2030. The country is certainly looking so much brighter than it did yesterday. So thank you very much to all those responsible for giving us this beautiful gift for the day. Till we see you again tomorrow, do take good care of yourselves and the ones around you. Till then, goodbye.
Goodbye.
سهرنا